Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Suez. We went 3-5 on this Friday night. I was so fired up for it. Really pissed off at the Twins. They left so many men on base. Some positive news. Top bet hit. Rangers money line at plus money, so that was cool. But the other top bet was Arizona, and they got rocked by Boston. We didn't get absolutely murdered, but definitely not the Friday night we were looking for. Let's put it in the past. Move on to Saturday. We got 15 more games. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Suez. The Suez. Suez. Hey, get the Suez.
First up, Padres at Yankees. Michael Wacha pitching against Luis Severino. Yanks open up as minus 140 favorites. Total opens up at 9.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. Heavy lean on the under here. We're looking at 1-0 Yankees after 5 innings. Final score 2-0 Yankees. Don't look now, but Michael Wacha is dealing. Have you seen this guy's numbers in the month of May? His last 4 starts, 25 innings pitched, so he's averaging over 6 innings a start, just 1 earned run total in all 4 starts. He's got an 0.36 ERA and an 0.72 whip in May. Dude's putting up Cy Young numbers right now. So obviously the question we need to ask is against who? Are there any legitimate opponents in there? And the answer is not really. I mean, he did throw 6 scoreless innings against Boston, but Boston wasn't hitting anybody. That was on Sunday. If you remember, they scored like a total of 4 runs over 4-game stretch or something like that. So I don't know how impressive that is. He also threw 6 innings of 1-run ball against the Twins a couple weeks back. That one's definitely solid. That was on the road in Minnesota. Twins bats kind of got hot a few days after that, but still, gotta give him credit. That's a solid start. The other 2 starts, both at home against Kansas City and Cincinnati. So he is pitching his ass off, but we got to take it with a small grain of salt because he hasn't really pitched against any elite lineups at all. Obviously, we know the New York Yankees can hit right into pitching. This is going to be Wacha's biggest test in over a month. Despite this dude looking like a Cy Young candidate, I think the Yanks get to him here. Also, Anthony Rizzo knows the shit out of this guy. Rizzo is a lifetime 21 of 53 off Wacha. The hit lines aren't open yet, but Rizzo over total bases might be worth a look. On the other side, you got Luis Severino, and I know this will only be his second start of the season, but the Padres' main bats have never seen Severino before. Bogaerts has seen him, but Severino has dominated Xander. Xander Bogaerts just 3 of 29 career off Severino. I think Louis deals here. Padres lineup hasn't been scoring runs. They have been hitting better, but in the last 14 days, they're hitting just 193 with runners in scoring position. That's dead last in Major League Baseball. Cannot trust this lineup. I like the Yanks here. Not crazy about the minus 145 price, so I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to bet it yet. Maybe Yankees team total over, maybe Yankees first 5 run line. I'll let you know on the live show at 11 a.m. Definitely not on the Padres, though. I'm most likely going to be on the Yanks. Next game. White Sox at Tigers. Jesse Schulten's pitching against Michael Lorenzen. Opens up as a pick'em. Detroit minus 110. Chicago minus 110. Total opens up at 8.5. I'm actually skipping this one. I like Lorenzen. I really want to back the Tigers, but the truth is I don't know anything about this kid, Jesse Schulten's. He did throw 5 innings of 1-run baseball in his last appearance. Maybe I'll bet this one in the morning, but for right now, I'm skipping it. I'll say Tigers or pass. Next game. Toronto on the road in Minnesota again. We got Chris Bassett pitching against Pablo Lopez. Twins open up as very slight favorites, minus 120. Total opens up at 8. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at 4-3 Blue Jays after 5 innings. Final score 5-5, so no real lean there either way. So Pablo Lopez is pitching, and he's been really solid this year. He's had a few bumps along the way. 2 of those came at home against dead lineups too, which is kind of weird. He didn't pitch well against the Nats or the Royals. So can he perform against this highly touted Toronto lineup? Well, he doesn't have the best history against the Blue Jays, but it's a small sample size. Toronto's lineup lifetimes hitting 286 with an 896 OPS against Pablo Lopez, but again, just 35 career bats, and his last start against them was back in 2021, so not the best history, but I mean, Pablo Lopez really seems to have taken a step forward in his career this season. I don't care what the numbers say about the Blue Jays lineup right now. This team is not scoring runs. Keep in mind, Toronto scored 11 runs in the 9th inning against the Tampa Bay outfielders. Their numbers are skewed right now. Toronto's been held, get this one, Toronto's been held to 2 runs or less by 13 of the last 14 right-handed starters that they've seen. They are not hitting right now, certainly not hitting right-handed starters. I think Pablo Lopez handles his shit at home here. On the other side, we got Chris Bassitt, and he was on a nice little hot streak there. He had 3 consecutive outings of 7+ innings, 0-run baseball, but then he went on the road into Tampa and got absolutely rocked. Gave up 3 home runs, 6 runs, 7 hits. Admittedly, that's a tough spot on the road in Tampa, but there's a pattern forming here. On the road, Chris Bassitt is allowing a 352 WOBA. Not only are those numbers basically twice as bad as they are at home, but it's flat out concerning if you're considering betting the Blue Jays on the road when he's on the mound. As far as bullpens go, I'd give the slight edge to Minnesota here, so I'm going back to the Twins. To be honest, they should have won last night. They should have won. They left so many guys on base. They lost 3-1, whatever. At minus 105, I'm down to take another shot at them. I truly think they have a big starting pitching advantage with Lopez against Bassitt on the road. So give me Minnesota money line minus 105 next game. Texas at Baltimore again. This is our bet of the day yesterday. Rangers money line to cash for us. Andrew Heaney pitching against Dean Kramer. Baltimore opens up as very slight favorites here, minus 115. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at 5-2 Rangers after 5 innings. Final score 6-6, so no real lean there. All right, so I know Andrew Heaney is coming off back-to-back excellent starts. In his last 2 starts, he went 6 innings in both of them, just 1 earned run allowed combined in both starts. He's been pitching very well recently, but this is a tough spot for this man. First of all, he's a lefty on the road in Baltimore. In case you haven't heard, the Orioles crush left-handed pitching. I know the last couple weeks they don't have the best numbers against lefties. They're like 18th or 19th, but they're still 7th against lefties on the year. And this Orioles lineup has proven to us that they can hit lefties where, okay, a 2-week slump isn't going to throw me off. We know Baltimore can hit lefties. This is a tough spot for Heaney, man. You add on the fact that he's got terrible career numbers against Baltimore. Check this out. These numbers are just nuts. In the last 3 years, Heaney has pitched against the O's 3 times. Just 7 innings pitched total. He's allowed 15 earned runs and 6 home runs. 15 earned runs and 6 home runs in just 7 innings pitched in his last 3 outings against the Orioles. This lineup owns him. The Baltimore lineup lifetime is 16 of 44 off Heaney with 6 home runs, batting .364 with a 1255 OPS. These are career numbers against Andrew Heaney. Baltimore's lineup is a nightmare for this dude. Now, I don't know if I trust Dean Kramer. I probably don't, to be honest. But the Orioles coming off an ugly blowout loss at home should absolutely rock Andrew Heaney enough to back him here. I'm going to take Baltimore first 5 money line, take Baltimore full game money line. I may even bet the Baltimore team total over also. I might spread my money out 3 ways on this one across different sports books. Definitely on the O's. I'll let you know my final bets on the live show next game. Houston at Oakland. As I'm recording this, we still don't have a line open for this one. I know Framber Valdez is pitching, but we really don't know who's pitching for Oakland, so I got to skip this one for now. We don't have a line open. Maybe I have something on the live show tomorrow. We'll see. Whatever. Next game. Phillies on the road at Braves. Zach Wheeler pitching against Charlie Morton. Braves open up as very slight favorites, minus 115. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, after 5 innings, we're looking at 3-2 Phillies. Final score 4-2 Phillies. All right, so we got Zach Wheeler on the road where he does tend to struggle. So far this year, he's got a 5.06 ERA and a 141 whip on the road. Definitely not good. Now, there are some numbers out there that suggest that he's been relatively unlucky on the road this year. But this is dating back multiple seasons. Wheeler's production always seems to drop off on the road. Want to hear some good news for Zach Wheeler? His struggles on the road for some reason just don't seem to exist when it comes to the Atlanta Braves. In his last 3 trips to Atlanta, he's 2-1 with a 2.18 ERA, an 0.87 whip, and a 24-1 strikeout to walk ratio. And this is a Braves lineup that is much less productive against right-handed pitching this year. Certainly way less than they were at this point last year. Last year, the Braves sat 2nd in OPS at home versus righties. This year, they're 20th in that same spot. I don't usually like betting Zach Wheeler on the road, but I actually think I like him in this spot. On the other side, you got Charlie Morton, who's usually a solid guy to bet at home, but this year in particular, that hasn't really been the case. He's actually been better on the road. And for whatever reason, he's just got terrible numbers at home trying to get out left-handed bats. At home, he's allowing a 398 WOBA and a 2.61 home runs per 9 innings against left-handed bats. Just really struggling against lefties. The reason I bring that up, Phillies lineup regularly starts 5 left-handed bats in their day-to-day lineup, including Stott, Harper, and Schwarber. That's 3 of their first 5 batters. Last year, Charlie Morton did have one great start against Philly, but the other one was absolutely brutal. His numbers against the Phillies as a whole last year, 0-1 with a 5.47 ERA, 1.6 WHIP, and just a 21.4 strikeout rate. Add on the fact that somehow this Phillies bullpen is continuing to produce right now, something none of us would have guessed. Phillies bullpen is top 10 in both WOBA and ERA over the last 2 weeks. The Atlanta Braves bullpen, bottom 10 in both categories, so we should have a bullpen edge with Philly as well. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm taking the Phillies on the road to beat the Braves twice in a row. Give me Phillies money line at plus 115 next game. Giants at Brewers. We got Logan Webb pitching against Corbin Burns. Great pitching matchup here. Milwaukee opens up very slight favorites, minus 115. Total opens up at 7. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at a 1-1 tie after 5 innings. Final score 3-1 Giants. I don't know what to even say about Milwaukee right now. I mean, Freddie Peralta just got hit into another dimension, got hit into another planet last night. Are the Giants starting to hit right-handed pitching again? I mean, they were chilling in the top 10 against righties for pretty much the first 5 to 6 weeks of the season. Then they slumped off. So we know they're capable of doing damage against right-handed pitching. We just haven't seen it as of late. So can they get to Corbin Burns the same way they got to Freddie? I mean, probably not. They scored 10 runs off him in less than 3 innings. But I really think they can get a few across. Corbin Burns did just pitch against the Giants 3 weeks ago, and he did give up 5 runs, but only 2 of them were earned. So that start definitely wasn't as bad as it may have looked on paper. 4 hits, 3 walks on 6 innings pitched isn't terrible. On the other side, we got Logan Webb, who's been pitching his brains out. Dude's got a 1.30 ERA in the month of May. He's made 4 starts this month, 27 2/3 innings. So he's basically averaging 7 innings per start. He's allowed just 4 total earned runs in those 4 starts. He's been absolutely dominant recently. Giants got a chance to rest their bullpen with the blowout win. I'm fading the Brewers. They broke my heart last night. Give me the Giants money line at plus 104 next game. Pirates at Mariners. Roansy Contreras pitching against Luis Castillo. Line opens up at Seattle pretty heavily favored here, minus 225. Total opens up down at 7. This total for this matchup opened up super low yesterday as well. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at 3-1 Mariners after 5 innings. Final score 4-1 Mariners. All right, this one actually comes in from Prop Beaver, so I'm actually just reading his notes here. Roansy Contreras is on the mound, and he's having a much worse May than he did April. Through 4 May starts, Contreras is posting a 5.64 ERA, 371 WOBA, 2 home runs per 9 innings, and a 0 strikeout to walk percentage, 1.52 WHIP, and a 6.13 FIP. That's how you know it's Prop Beaver. He lists all the numbers every single time. That's pretty dreadful. And while Contreras has been better on the road this season, his 5.67 expected FIP projects negative regression right around the corner. Now, the Mariners aren't exactly righty killers, but they may be heating up a bit. They're 12th in WRC plus versus righties over the last 14 days and 4th over the last 7 days. So they've been hitting righties as of late. On the other side, you got Luis Castillo, who has a pretty long history against the Pirates. Remember, keep in mind, he played with the Reds forever. They were division foes. Through his 7 home starts against Pittsburgh, he's 4-1 with a 1.20 ERA, 0.88 WHIP. This is that Great American Ballpark, too, where pitchers don't put up the greatest numbers. Now he's in Seattle, a much more pitcher-friendly environment. And even though the Pirates lineup has had a ton of turnover, the current Pirates lineup still has just a 185 batting average and a 568 career OPS versus Castillo. They're just 27th in WRC plus versus right-handed pitching in the last 2 weeks and 29th over the last 30 days. Castillo should absolutely dominate. So when I see those numbers, personally, I would think Seattle first 5 run line, but it's super expensive. So that's why Prop Beaver wrote down Luis Castillo to record a win. I don't have the odds written down. I'll put it on the screen. So Luis Castillo to record a win. That's the bet we like here. Dodgers at Rays. Clayton Kershaw pitching against Tyler Glasnow. Dodgers open up as favorites, minus 120. Total opens up at 7, which I don't understand. If we take a look at the spreadsheet, we got nothing because we have no pitcher data in for Glasnow. He hasn't pitched. Well, He came back and pitched a few games late last year, but no data in for him this year. Tell me why I shouldn't go right back to the over here. The over cashed for us in this game last night. The books opened this number at 7. It's at 8 now. I don't know if I'm walking into the biggest trap of all time, but I don't understand this number. We're talking about Clayton Kershaw on the road. Sure, he's got a 1.13 ERA at home. He's an absolute monster at home. But this year, his ERA on the road goes all the way up to 4.32. Kershaw's been vulnerable on the road this year, man. And he's not just on the road. He's on the road in Tampa. And I said the same thing last night. The Rays don't have the best record in baseball by accident. They're first in Major League Baseball in OPS against lefties. I mean, they're first against righties as well. They're first against anyone. They have the best record in baseball, man. And then pitching for Tampa, we have Tyler Glasnow. Dude is a beast for sure. He's got crazy stuff. But he's not only making his first start of the season, but he missed all of last year also. He came back and pitched a couple times towards the end of last year, and then he I believe he started a game in the playoffs, or he might have come in off the bullpen. But the fact remains that this dude hasn't been a regular member of the Rays rotation since June of 2021. We're talking about 2 years ago. Are we honestly expecting him to just hop on the field and shut down the Dodgers after not really being active for 2 years? No way. Give me the over. I'm going right back to the over. Cash yesterday. It'll cash again today. Give me the over at 8 next game. Nats at Royals. Josiah Gray pitching against Brady Singer. This one opens up as a pick 'em. Minus 110 on both sides. Total opens up at 9. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at 5-0 Nats after 5 innings. Final score 7-0 Nats. So 2 days in a row where the model's giving us a huge lead on Washington. Back-to-back games where I just don't understand this line. Am I being punked with this? I don't get why they're giving this to us. I mean, Nats are now, 13-12 in their last 25 games. As I'm recording this, they're up 12-10 in the 9th inning, so I'm assuming they go ahead and win this game. Hopefully I won't have to come back and re-record this. But 13-12 in the last 25 games. We got Josiah Gray pitching against Brady Singer. Now, normally ERA isn't the best indicator, but I think it tells the entire story here. Josiah Gray, 2.65 ERA this season. Brady Singer, 7.48. Yeah, that about sums up how I feel about this starting pitching matchup. I don't know if the odds makers are just Washington Nationals haters. Clearly, this looks sketchy, but I don't care. Maybe I'm walking into a huge trap. Give me the Nationals money line. I think I saw it at like minus 107, minus 108 on some books, so I'm taking that next game. Red Sox at D-backs. Garrett Whitlock pitching against Zach Davies. No line open for this one. I'm not even 100% sure if Davies is definitely pitching. I think he is. But I'm just skipping this one. Next game. Reds at Cubs. Brandon Williamson pitching against Jameson Taillon. Cubs open up as huge favorites here, minus 225. Total opens up at 7.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're leaning Reds here. After 5 innings, 5-3 Cincinnati. Final score 9-5 Cincinnati. I'm actually skipping this one too. I don't really know much about Brandon Williamson. I also don't really know what to make of Jameson Taillon right now. I tried to back him a couple times last year. Really don't trust him. So there's 15 games on the board. I'm not forcing anything. Skipping this one for now. Next game. Cardinals at Guardians. Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty pitching against Tyler Beebe. Cleveland opens up as very slight favorites here, minus 115. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at 4-3 cards after 5 innings. Final score 6-3 cards. So this one really comes down to one question. Do you think the Cardinals' offensive hot streak they were on is over? If you look at the last 14 days, they're still second against right-handed pitching, but if you isolate it to just the last 7 days, they fall all the way back to 24th. I gave them the benefit of the doubt last night. They put up just 3 runs. Shane Bieber gives up 5 hits and 4 walks and still somehow skates by and gets the win. Swear to God, that dude's got to be the luckiest man on the planet. This puts us in a difficult position because if the Cards bats are dead, this is a stay away game for me. Cleveland probably will take it. But if you think the Cardinals bats are still alive, this could be a layup plus money cash here. Tyler Beebe is pitching against Cleveland. Shaky right-handed starter. If the Cardinals bats aren't dead, they should light him up. I know Jack Flaherty has looked terrible, but it's the Cleveland Guardians we're talking about. Even last night, they just won that game 4-3. They scored 4 runs in 1 inning. Outside of the 5th inning, Cleveland only had 3 hits the entire game. So I'm always down to fade the Cleveland lineup. Betting on Jack Flaherty hurts. Not going to lie. I'm not crazy about it, but I'm down to give St. Louis. I'm down to give these bats one more opportunity. Give me the St. Louis money line. I think it's going for about plus 105. I don't have it open in front of me, but it was slight plus money. So I'm giving the Cards one more shot next game. Marlins at Angels. Edward Cabrera pitching against Shohei Ohtani. Obviously, Angels open up as huge favorites here, minus 220. Total opens up at 7.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet after 5 innings. We're looking at 4-3 Marlins. Final score 7-4 Marlins. I'm skipping this one. Not only do I not really like betting on Angels games where Ohtani's pitching because the price always seems to be inflated. Whenever he pitches, everyone bets the Angels. But also, this game is still going on right now. It's 2-0 Marlins, I think, in the 6th or 7th as I'm recording this. So I really like to see how that game ends, see what bullpen arms get used before I consider making a bet. I might have a pick for this one on the live show tomorrow at 11 a.m., but for right now, I got nothing. We forgot to record the Mets-Rockies video, so we'll give a pick for this one out on the live show. We were leaning Mets minus 1.5, but we're really not sure. So tune in 11 a.m. We'll go through all the games, including Mets-Rockies. If anything changes with any of these bets, I will let you know on Twitter, so give me a follow there if you're interested. Also, if you want the final ticket that has every single bet we're placing and how much we're placing on each one, as well as the top bets, parlay of the day, that kind of stuff, head over to KyleKirms.com. All right, MLB Saturday, tons of action on all day. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you on Twitter.